topic for today is Brexit. Before I start, there are few prerequisites that I would like to explain to you. Starting with, these are the terms that people often confuse with it. Great Britain, United Kingdom, and British Isles. These islands consist of 5 countries: Scotland, England, Wales, Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland. When I say in this presentation United Kingdom, I mean these 4 countries. I am not including this Republic of Ireland, and this whole set of islands is called British Isles. Similarly, the other part is the European Union. As you must have known, the European Union is different from the continent of Europe. There are 3 sectors in which the European Union operate: governance, monetary, and mobility. And as in the graph, you can see the UK is not more a part of it. Now starting with it. So Brexit literally means British exit. In 2016, a referendum was passed asking for a sovereignty, asking for a referendum from the EU. That means that the United Kingdom wants to separate from the alliance of EU. Now, as to why this decision was made, there are several issues, but the top that I have mentioned over here, but the top 2 are the basic issues: the sovereignty and the immigration. When I say this sovereignty here means that the United Kingdom wants to establish their control over their nation, their boundaries, and their operations in a more effective manner as to EU. It has been said in these in the official statements of that Prime Minister Theresa that although the operations are happening in United Kingdom, the decisions were making in the EU Brussels. As of the immigration, there was a bill passed which triggered the United Kingdom to a high level, which said that every EU nation has to take into their country a certain amount of immigrants, which was of course against their national interest. Now coming to the part where how it happened. So there are key events for the Brexit process, starting with the 2016 referendum, whereby there was country-wise voting was done to know if the citizens of that country are willing to get exit from the European Union or not. In that elections, 51.9% the population voted for the exit, 49.1% was against it, and 72% was the voters turnout. This event triggered the Article 50. Article 50 is the Treaty of European Union, which says that which officially started the process of Brexit that time. After which, that time Prime Minister Mrs. Theresa called for the elections in order to ask for a more strengthened position in the government, so that they could put forward the process of Brexit. After which, in those elections, she eventually ended up losing the powers, losing the majority over there. Then there was a withdrawal of agreement of negotiations. Agreement of negotiations started, and there was a withdrawal over that. And on January 15th, the agreement rejected. There were no settlement between the EU and the UK that time. Then in the next elections, July 24, 2019, the government changed over there. Mr. Boris Johnson became the Prime Minister, and the next agreement was passed. As mentioned, revised withdrawal agreement. Then that agreement was approved on 2019, and it officially triggered the transition period from February 1st, 2020. During this year-long transition period, the government of UK and EU had been into negotiations between them about the future relations. How will they conduct things in the future? And on January 1st, the EU and UK cooperation agreement was passed on December 24, 2020. Full Brexit was enforced on January 1st, and then there was a remarkable event, which is Northern Ireland Protocol. As I've shown in the map, there is a border body between United Kingdom and Northern Ireland part, and also the Northern Ireland citizens are more inclined towards calling themselves Irish as of the British. So there is a special protocol as to the movement of mobility and goods and stuff trade between the island of Irish Island and the Northern Ireland. And as of now, there are ongoing issues which I will be discussing further. Okay then, these are the various areas of impact over which the Brexit was seen. As to, I will differentiate them into 5 parts, but I will be giving emphasis only on the trade and investment part. Of course, when I will open the stage for questions, you can ask me that. So trade, as to there was a negative outlook towards the trade because investors, the foreign direct investors, seeing this thing as an instability issue in the country. Similarly goes for the investments and trade. See, EU basically provides you mobility between the countries, a set of 27, earlier 28 countries. Then there was employment. Now, hypothetically, tell me, if you have a market where you can go, have a set of 27 countries where you can do job, or have a set of 4 countries where you can do job, you will choose the more one, of course. So that is why there was a issue of brain drain that we were seeing, and of course the jobs opportunity was less. The immediate cause happened to be in which the industries migrated from the nation of United Kingdom to the Ireland. As of the social issues, the education part is pretty much, see, United Kingdom's economy works highly on the part where they take international students for their economy. Which this thing was hampered because, let's face it, students prefer to have exposure of whole Europe. And healthcare is a sector which has a common understanding between EU and UK. Both the unions together have a healthcare, European international healthcare system whereby they can access each other's healthcare infrastructure. Okay, then I'll just move next. Now comes the part where the scope of Brexit. What were the different outcomes of Brexit? See, when I earlier told you there was a voting in the beginning of the referendum, there was a huge, what you say, that difference between the voting in Scotland and the voting in England and the Wales. Let me tell you, these four nations which combinedly create United Kingdom are not really in a good situation itself. Scotland, the majority of population of Scotland, 72% to be exact, didn't want it to be go out of the European Union. And Wales is fighting for its independence actively, and Northern Ireland, of course, has the issue as about their identity crisis. So to keep these things alive, to keep this union alive is a major issue over there. Then we have the challenges that UK faced in this implementing of Brexit. Of course, that's the short-term implications of how industries and trades were hampered. Now, this is where I want to tell you something. There was a observation that I made that during this transition period, the internal media in UK, I have referred to a lot of video channels during this research part. Internal media in UK is speaking highly of Brexit, whereas the international media is, saying that it's a failure, which puts me to tell me which part is correct or not. So I'm putting forward only the facts which have been come up with the reputed institutions, which I will see which will see in later videos. Okay, so how we can ensure a Brexit if they have success? The agreement which they made, the EU and UK agreement, trade agreement, which is a 2-point agreement of check, which will treat European, non-European citizens and European citizens as similarly. That agreement has to be powered in enforcement. Coming up next is these are the facts that happened. CER expected at 2% GDP will fall, 2.6%, $2.6 billion public finance fallen per year since Brexit. 4% amount of which is expected to reduce UK GDP in the long run, and 1 lakh jobs to be lost. It's a fact by PwC, although New Zealand says otherwise. One of the industry which happened to be in a better position is the fishing industry, because the fishing laws which were applicable earlier were not applicable now. further, I have a case study. I would like you to see the video and just I'll tell you how this is in a double-edged sword.
Jan Mikowski's been growing grapes for 10 years. His Oxfordshire vines are thriving, but he's worried changes to the rules will cause producers problems.
I think it could turn out to be a double-edged sword, yes. My advice to any politician would be careful what you wish for. If you liberalise the market and throw away the rules without introducing other safeguards, then there are always going to be unscrupulous players who will knock out some cheap plonk at the bottom end, and that could tarnish our image.
Much of the UK's wine industry is still regulated by EU rules. The government wants to lose these laws and says this could boost business by £180 million. Jan Mikowski's been growing grapes for 10 years. His Oxfordshire Jan Mikowski's been growing grapes for 10 years. His Oxfordshire vines are thriving, but he's worried changes to the rules will cause producers problems.
I think it could turn out to be a double-edged sword, yes. My advice to any politician would be careful what you wish for. If you liberalise the market and throw away the rules without introducing other safeguards, then there are always going to be unscrupulous players who will knock out some cheap plonk at the bottom end, and that could tarnish our image.
Much of the UK's wine industry is still regulated by EU rules. The government wants to lose these laws and says this could boost business by £180 million.
Sorry, there must be an issue with the video.
Internet.
Just the references and then the. So, unfortunately, the video is not able to load fully, but it is basically says that in the Union of United Kingdom, there are 4 countries, and then 2 types of wines are there: English wine and British wines. The English wines are prepared from hops from around the world, and since they have the European Union can reproduce this English wine in their own, which is going to be hampering their economy. Of course, they are also facing the job employment issues whereby they are having issues in providing labor. Whereas the wine which is only produced in UK, the British wine, can be sold at a higher price, which will again give them a monopoly edge. So this is a double-edged sword for them. They are having both benefits and issues with them. These are the references. So anyone have questions, you can ask now. About any aspect.
समझ आया क्या बताया आशीष व्हाट आशीष एक्सप्लेन समझ आया थोड़ा व्हाट इज ब्रेक्सिट एग्जैक्टली British exit from European Union and how many member states are there in European Union? You do not tell. नहीं पता सुना नहीं प्रेजेंटेशन How many states he told? I mean, how many countries, not states? There are 28 countries, and now the countries have gone down, which have become 27 because Britain has moved out from the trade agreement between, among all the 28 nations. What was the major reason for the exit of Britain? So what is European Union? It has 27 members.